Okay, we're going to go ahead and jump right in here. So welcome to this Kadence bi-weekly webinar. It's great to connect with all of those on the line here. My name's Dan. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Kadence, based here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Kadence is in about a dozen countries now, serving well over 200 customers as they move to their hybrid working plans. I'm sure that looks different for each and every one of you. Today, I'm going to take you through a little bit of a kind of macro view of where we think the hybrid landscape is for about 5 minutes. And then we're going to dive into a product demo, looking at the employee experience and then looking at the employer experience. All of this is being recorded, as mentioned, that we'll send to you post-meeting. And you will have the opportunity to ask any questions that you have. A little bit about Kadence. Kadence is backed by some of the world's leading investors, including Hewlett-Packard Enterprise and Intel Capital. And we've got product deployed all over the world now with some of the world's leading companies, all the way through to small 15, 20, 30 people companies as well. So it's great to see a good mixture of people on the line today. So as we think about hybrid, we are talking our customers through these 4 different versions of hybrid. So bear with me for a second as I kind of take this through, and perhaps you might realize or you might resonate with some of these observations. So we think that there are actually 4 different chapters of hybrid. Hybrid 1 was what happened in the year 2000 to 2019, essentially a 20-year journey, where we had occasional hybrid work. If you can remember back to 2000, we just got the internet. We were getting Wi-Fi a few years later. We got the batteries inside of our laptops so that we could work on the train or the plane or wherever. And occasionally we worked remotely. Perhaps we'd take the odd Friday to work from home. Perhaps we would log in from the beach or what have you on our phones in 2013 and kind of onwards. This is the toolkit layer. Like, this is the years where the toolkit for hybrid was created, and the unbundling of the tools that the office had always had for the time being now became detached and distributed. And so this is the toolkit layer, hybrid 1. The tools were created and we occasionally used them to work remotely, but we spent the majority of our time working still from the office. Hybrid 2 is what we've all just been through, and God willing, have seen the end of, which is forced remote work, where we all worked, white collar worked predominantly from home for the last 2 years. Now, this was largely a success for most companies, at least from a productivity perspective. However, it was only able to work because we had the tools of hybrid 1. There aren't many people that want this forced remote, at least being remote from a forced perspective, hybrid 2 version to persist forever. And so we're moving now that we can into hybrid 3. And this is where we are starting to blend remote and in-person work. And we think this is going to be hugely problematic for most companies. Essentially, your hybrid working policy is not just a job for the IT manager or facilities manager or even the HR manager. The hybrid working policy that companies adopt is actually that company's way of life. More so than it's their way of life, it's actually their operating system for the company going forwards. And so your entire company's cadence and way of working, ergo performance, is attached to your hybrid policy. And we think it's going to go really badly. And what we've experienced are 2 things. Number 1, uncoordinated hybrid, and 2, forced hybrid. Number 1, uncoordinated hybrid is where people have loads of choice. Now, this sounds great. The liberated worker can choose where they want to work from, when they want to work, and who they want to work with. So they can go in and say, I'm going to come in on Monday, I'm going to go in on Tuesday, etc. But what often happens is that this brings with it a whole load of additional organization. We had one customer the other day, for example, that shared with us that before getting Kadence, they would look at 12 different Outlook calendars every night to figure out if they were going to go in. which is a massive coordination overhead. And we also have heard from customers where before having Kadence, people would be turning up in the office at different times, not knowing who was there, perhaps wasting an hour on a commute just to sit on Zoom all day and not have the heads up collaboration time that they had perhaps hoped for. And so we think that with the liberated worker and so much choice comes the challenge of lack of coordination. So that's number one, that breeds discontent and all sorts of other productivity challenges. So that's number one. Number two problem with hybrid 3 is what we call forced hybrid. So, okay, I hear you, Dan, let's not have uncoordinated hybrid. Let's make sure people are in on these particular days. The challenge with that is what we call forced hybrid. If you're making people come in on specific days, they are no longer a liberated worker. And if you just look at some of the Apple employees now, they're actually looking to leave their companies because they're being asked to come in on specific days. So you are removing the autonomy, the agency from that person, choosing to work when they think is the best time for them to work. And Apple with a $6 billion campus and some of the best wages in the world can't make their employees come in on specific days, and we don't think there's much chance for anybody else in the world. So what's also the problem with forced hybrid is not just the employee losing their agency, it's all an autonomy. It's also you as facilities managers, HR managers, IT managers, perhaps future of work leaders, you don't get the space savings that you otherwise might be getting and that your competitors are getting. So we're working mostly with companies that are looking at a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 people to desk ratio. And so if you have forced hybrid, you have to keep a 1-to-1 essentially people to desk ratio because you're going to have vast amounts of people in on specific days. And so you don't get to have the benefits of load balancing your space. So hybrid 3 is going to be disastrous. If it's not uncoordinated, it's going to be forced and you're going to have spatial savings that you're not going to realize. If it's forced, you're not going to have the people that you want working for you because they'll go and find another place to work. So we believe there must be a better way. We call that hybrid 4. It's coordinated hybrid. It's where the right people meet in the right times in the right place. And we give at Kadence people the opportunity to make the best decisions about where they can do their best work. And we're going to dive into a little bit of that now. So as mentioned, I'm going to share my screen now and go through the employee experience to start with. So this is the mobile app. We have this available for Android. This is the iOS version. We also have this available for desktop as well. So as you can see here, I've got a little widget at the top here that's showing my upcoming booking, but let's go in and make my first booking. Now, I can come along in here and tap new booking. I can choose a desk, a room, or to come in on site. I can choose who I want to book for. I can invite a guest, or I can search for a particular colleague, for example, and that will bring up Helen, and I can go ahead and book for her. I can do that as a team manager, as a group manager. I can then choose where. So who am I booking for? Where am I going to book? I've got access to these particular offices around the world for my company. I'm going to go ahead and choose the New York office here as default. It's got my default floor already in there, the 35th floor. I can search for amenities. So I can search for a sit-stand desk if I wanted to, a webcam, a window seat, all those types of things if I want to have a specific experience for that day. I can book all day. I can make repeat bookings, so I can book for multiple days at a time. But I'm going to go ahead and search for a particular desk. Now, we'll come on to this in a moment, how this is all focused around people, not just around places. But as you can see here, I've got these different neighborhoods that are available to me. So I can see here, for example, this is the Columbus neighborhood that I've got access to on the 35th floor. So if I come along and tap here, I can see desk 21, looks like it's got a little filing cabinet. I can see desk over here, desk number 4, sit stand desk, an Apple docking station, a phone, an external keyboard. But what I really care about is where are my friends sat, where are my colleagues sat that I'm going to have a good experience with that day. So I can go ahead and see that Anna is booked over here. So Gedris is who I want to sit next to today. So I can go ahead and see Gedris. He's sat there. I'm going to go ahead and sit next to him. So that's me now choosing that desk. We kind of think of this as Airbnb meets Ticketmaster type of experience. If your employees have ever booked a ticket online, have ever booked a hotel online, have ever booked an airplane seat online, they will know how to use Kadence without you needing to train them. Now, that's my desk booked. You could do the same for rooms. You could do the same just for coming on site. Or you can do, obviously, for desks. Now, if you want to have parking, many of our customers are reducing their parking spaces as part of their hybrid strategies as well. So I can come ahead and register for my parking space. I can see that that's got storage. That's fine. I don't need an external monitor today. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm that booking. That booking's now confirmed, and I've got the ability to go ahead and share this with Gedris on Slack or on Teams or wherever you want to go and share it. So let me go and share this with Gedris. Gedris coming in tomorrow. Let's grab lunch. Perfect. Or today, I should have put. You can see here that this booking now appears down in my upcoming bookings. So this is the booking that I have starting at 12 p.m. On the Hudson Yards building on the 35th floor. And I can go ahead, or Hudson Yards neighborhood rather, on the 35th floor. And I'm going to go ahead and self-certify. So for this particular building, there's a COVID policy that says that I've been vaccinated. It also says that I have none of these conditions currently. I can upload, I've already uploaded my COVID vaccination history, which can be approved by a HR leader. But I'm going to go ahead and confirm that I am all good to go in. Once I get on site, I can go ahead and check into that particular desk should I want to. So underneath here, we've got all of our upcoming bookings, as you have seen. Next, I'm going to flick to my profile. So this is where I can share a little bit about me. So you can see that my bio is I'm available on Pacific time. I'm a family guy, so don't chase me too hard if it's around the school pickup times. You can ask me about version 2 of the product or the product roadmap. You can book a time with me here. I'm afraid to say I'm a Norwich City Football Club soccer fan. Now, all of this is updating my cadence. So my bookings update my cadence here. And you can see we've been doing a lot of demos recently. So you can see that I'm in the office every day for that particular bookings. Now, I can also set my regular cadence. So I can go ahead and choose like when I'm normally going to be in. So I'm normally going to be in on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm going to be not working on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm going to be remote on Friday. So as I update my cadence, this also updates here as well and gives visibility for others for when they can expect you to come into that location. All of this syncs to a directory. So I'm a part of different teams. And when we sync, when we set you up as a customer, we sync with your Google or your Microsoft or your other HR management systems, and we pull across all of your individuals and all of the teams that they're in. You can also create separate teams as part of this, but I'm going to go ahead and dig into the sales team. And I can see that I'm a part of the sales team, and I can see where my colleagues are working from on this particular day. If I go ahead and look at Tanika, I can see that Tanika is booked in the New York office, and she's going to be tomorrow. She's going to be in New York on the 35th floor. Hey, she's on the same floor as me. If I wanted to, I can now go ahead and grab a desk next to her as well for the afternoon, perhaps. So we find that our customers come into this, they see where their friends are, and they orientate their days around their colleagues and the work that they're doing with colleagues rather than just which desks need booked and when. So this is how a little bit of how our teams and directory all works. This also serves as a little bit of an active directory as well for you and your colleagues, understanding who's where and when and being able to get their contact information. I've got a full list of my upcoming bookings. I've also got a full list of all my past bookings here as well. All of this is tunable through notifications. All of this is customizable through our settings here as well. So you can go ahead and change things like your preferred floor, your preferred workplaces, your preferred locations, contact details, etc., etc. So that's a very quick run through our iOS app. This is available for Android. This is also available on mobile browser and desktop browser as well. Hopefully that makes sense. Any questions, I would love to answer them towards the end. Let me now go ahead and dig into the back end of our platform. So if that's the employee experience, kind of this Airbnb meets Ticketmaster experience for your employees, this is now the employer experience. Think of this as air traffic control for your people and your spaces. So you can set up your spaces, invite your employees, and then analyze and optimize your hybrid experience. So let's go ahead and look at a live view of our office. Here I can see the live view, for example, of New York. This is showing all the people that are booked into this New York office. I've got an overview of all the different desks. I've got an overview of all the different rooms that are currently being used as well. I can drill this down per building, per floor. I can see, for example, that this desk has been booked. I can see that this desk has also been booked over here. And I can go ahead and I'll show you where you can find out who has booked those particular spaces in a moment. All of this feeds through into Insight. So this is just our sales team's platform. So there's not a lot of interesting data in here, as this is all their customer demo bookings. But I can go ahead and see all the different locations I have, how many employees are on the platform, which buildings are being used, what their daily occupancy is like, and how it's trending. I can look at this as well. If I go to, this is looking at the organization as a whole, and then I can drill this down per building. So I can look at the New York building, I can see all the different neighborhoods, the occupancies, and then I can drill this down per floor as well. And I can start to see a heat map of how my spaces are actually being used. What this is used for as well is customers understanding, hey, do I need to open that 5th floor yet? Can I remove the 5th floor? What about this neighborhood over here? Should we be changing this from dedicated desking? Should we be changing this to hot desking or more collaboration space? So this is an overview of insights that's giving you all the things you need to make informed decisions about how to conduct your hybrid strategy. Going forward through our directory. So as mentioned, we automatically port all of your colleagues into the platform when we help you set up. We do this with Active Directory Sync with Microsoft or Google or many other leading HR management systems. So if I go ahead and click on Dan, it's pulled in all of my information, my country, the buildings I prefer, from the security group that I'm a part of in the Active Directory. It's got a full list of my upcoming bookings, again, a full list of my past bookings, as well as my workplace safety. So I've uploaded my COVID vaccination history as well to this platform. Now, I can go ahead and tap back on directory and I can look at teams as well. So this might be where managers want to create teams. So it might be an engineering team, a product team, a marketing team, a finance team. These teams can have access to different buildings and different neighborhoods. So for example, the engineering team can only book in these 3 offices, and they can only book in the Chiswick and Woodbury Down neighborhood in the London office. So this is often used, for example, if HR wants to have a neighborhood to their own for confidential information, or finance wants to have a neighborhood for their own for confidential information, or perhaps marketing's working on a brand new project that they just need to have as much heads down concentration time as possible. They can book out a neighborhood, and only not people in the marketing team can book out that neighborhood. So all of that is configurable here too. As I mentioned, you can make bookings from the web rather than having to have a mobile app. You can do that here, and it follows a very, very similar view as the mobile does too. So what we find this is often useful for is those people that don't want to download a mobile app. They can go ahead and just do this directly from the browser and have the same experience. And of course, it all scales beautifully depending on what size of screen you are wanting to use as well for that. So that's a quick run through of directory. Again, you've got my teams, employees, and the teams that you're a part of. Next, we have booking. So this might be used by receptionists, facilities managers, etc. So this is one of the really interesting things here is you can use this for COVID tracing. So if you do have a COVID outbreak or any health issues, you can come back into here and I can see, right, I need to check the New York building. I need to check the 35th floor. And I need to look at it at a particular time. So I can go ahead and see who was in the building on the 5th, or on the, let's just say, I need to do past, don't I? Excuse me. So I come in here to the past booking, and I can look at March the 10th. and I can see all the people that are on that floor in that building for that particular period of time. All of this can be exported by CSV, and you can use this as well to cancel particular bookings. If you wanted to cancel bookings for people, you wanted to move things around, etc., you can come ahead and have the full kind of ability to do that. Bringing this into land for time-wise, and would love to get to some questions, this is where you can upload all of your different buildings. So if I come again, we'll focus on New York, I can create the New York building, I can add thumbnails, I can add, just to show what that building looks like for people that are visiting that building. And we won't have time to get to our visitor management system today, but we can share more details on that as well over email. But loading up a thumbnail is very helpful for those people that are perhaps coming to the building for the first time. Many colleagues will be doing that for the first time as well as they go back to the office. It's also helpful for the specific floors too. You can set opening times, so you can see the opening days that this building's open for. You can set opening times on those days, how much parking you have, instructions for guests if they're coming in, etc. So let's go ahead and drill into the New York building here, the 35th floor. And then I can go ahead and make changes to the amenities here. So for example, the desk 12, if I wanted to add, I don't know, a keyboard or a laptop docking station to this, I could go ahead and do that too. The same for rooms. If I wanted to go ahead and up the capacity for a particular room or add video conferencing equipment to that room, I could go ahead and do that as well. Super simple upload of the floor plans. You send us your floor plans on a CSV, on a CAD or a PDF, or we've even had people draw their floor plans, and we make it super simple to get you onboarded in just a couple of days. So go ahead and send your floor plans through to us, and we'll turn them into these gorgeous designs so that your people can understand how they can go ahead and book space. Bringing this into land now, just a quick tour through our settings. So we've got different COVID policies and terms and conditions that could be employed across different offices. This is all tunable per office as well. So you can have all of the ability to kind of micro manage which offices are being, people have access to depending on their local status from a health perspective. One of the things that we've also added is limiting how far in advance people can book. One of the things, if you're moving to a hot desking or hoteling strategy, is you do not want to have people book months and months in advance. So you can go ahead and limit that here and make sure that people are only booking just a few days in advance. So you're not getting squatters bring their desk plants and family photos and goldfish bowl and create a dedicated desk out of a flexible desk. You can also have, so notifications get sent as your booking's about to start, and if you don't check into that space. If somebody doesn't check into that space, you can set it to auto release. So that can open up that space like a meeting room or a desk if that employee does not check into that space within a period of time. And that's all tunable here too. I can go ahead and add amenities. So for example, we had a customer the other day in LA that wanted to add a dog-friendly neighborhood. So they could go ahead and say, hey, dog-friendly. You could add that to the particular amenity. I've already done that, as you can see, for a previous demo. And so people can understand, hey, I can bring Jackson into this particular part of the building, should I so wish. We often see that used for coffee machines. It could be for disabled access, etc. I can set closures to all my high days and holidays here where the buildings are not open. We've got an ever-growing list of integrations with SSO, Active Directory, HR management systems, and of course, your calendar integrations here as well. We didn't have time to go through visitor management today, but this is where you can invite guests onto site. So you can sign them in, they receive an email and arrival instructions, and you can have a clear record of how your spaces are being securely used. So that's a quick run through Kadence. The employee experience, think of it as Airbnb meets Ticketmaster for hybrid. And then the employer experience, think of that as air traffic control for your people and your spaces.